Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What is up, you turkeys? Welcome to episode 122 of the Raging Takes podcast, and it's a whole different vibe today. I'll be hosting. And you know what that means? I'll just talk the entire time and not let anybody else talk. So I'm joined by my co-hosts, Brian Dixon and Kai Zabo. Good evening, guys. How you doing today?
Salutations.
Hey,
wow.
What?
Sorry, I don't have a greeting yet. I have to think of one. So I'm gonna steal yours.
Fair enough.
You guys said that at the exact same time. Synchronicity. I like the way this episode's going already. So
that's disappointing. I was trying to beat him, actually.
All right. So we're going to start out with the raging question of the day. And I can't think of a better person to actually ask this because I can't wait to hear your guys' unbiased opinions here. Mm-hmm. The Chicago Bears have fired Shane Waldron a couple weeks too late, if you ask me. Maybe they should have never even hired him.
Some would say.
Yeah.
Do we expect the Bears offense to look better from here on out? What are we expecting?
I think that it will look slightly better. I think just like a change, just somebody in there to change things up, because it can't get any worse. They look so bad. They've gone, 23 consecutive possessions without scoring a touchdown, which is fucking crazy. It can't look any worse. So I do think it's going to look better. Do I think it's going to turn their season around? Absolutely not.
What about you, Kai?
Yeah, I think it should look better as well, just because it is a passing game coordinator that is moving into the offensive coordinator position now. And I mean, usually just from what we've seen this season, just any kind of change to a football team usually tends to bring good results, even if they're minor.
It's true. It's true. We saw what happened with the Saints just this past week. First game without Dennis Allen. They looked pretty good. I mean, better than they have looked. They won a game against a good team. Who do you guys think gets the biggest boost fantasy football wise on the Chicago Bears with the subtraction of Shane Waldron?
Hopefully DeAndre Swift and maybe Roma Dunze, honestly, because I think we're starting to see some flashes with Dunze, and I think it's just time to unlock him, start including him a little bit more in the offense, because Keenan Allen's looking a little bit more washed as the weeks go on. So
I gotta think Cole Kmet. I don't know anything about Thomas Brown, but like just the logical thing would be like getting your tight end involved in the passing game, because I feel like it's the passing game that's been the worst. Like the run game has been okay. DeAndre Swift didn't have a very good game this week, but he has been good in the recent weeks. So I don't really think the run game is all that big of an issue, but the passing game definitely needs to change. Like I know it's not just one person's fault. The Bears gave up 9 sacks, I want to say, this week. I think it was. So it's like the offensive line is in shambles. Obviously, they have a rookie quarterback who hasn't looked as good as he did in the weeks previously. Yeah, I don't know. I think get the tight end involved. I think it will help the offense a little bit. I'll say Cole Kmet.
Well, my opinion on this is Thomas Brown has had a stint as an offensive coordinator before. It was with the Carolina Panthers while Frank Reich was head coach, and the offense didn't necessarily didn't improve at all. So I'm hoping the talent on the Chicago Bears actually trumps that a little bit, and maybe he can get some short, quick pass plays in there. Something's got to change, dude. You got to get DJ Moore away from the line of scrimmage. He's not just a guy that you throw little swing routes and screens to. So I look for DJ Moore to get the biggest boost just because he is the best playmaker on that offense in general. So, so we'll definitely see what happens with this. But for me,
was that last season, the Frank Reich? Wasn't he the coach last year, and then he got fired in like week 9 or something like that?
Yeah. So he was the offensive coordinator for the Panthers last year at the end of the year, and that's why I'm not that excited about it. But we'll see.
I wouldn't be either. I did not know that. I did not know that he was the Panthers OC last season.
Yes.
That offense was not good either. So
the Bears offense ranks 30th in yards per game and hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 games. It can't get any worse than this. As long as they score more than 12 points, I'll be happy.
I did want to bring this up too. I don't know if you remember this interview that JSN had. I think it was during Super Bowl week. Where they asked him about Shane Waldron and what the Bears fans could look forward to, and he basically was just like, "Good luck to y'all."
Did he? Oh, yeah.
And I've seen the route trees for all the games for all the receivers, and they're running like the same 6 routes, concepts, plays, all this. It's very predictable. That's why the Bears passing game looks so bad, and our offensive line can't hold up. Anyways, moving on. NFL news. Dak Prescott is undergoing season-ending injury on his torn hamstring. And wasn't this the guy that they were delaying putting on IR?
Yes, I guess this is why. I don't know. They already probably knew that he was done for the season, so it didn't really matter.
Did his injury get worse is my question, because it sounds bad.
I don't think it got worse. I just think that they did some tests to figure out the severity of it, and they figured it was season ending. So that's not good. I mean, I know Dak didn't fucking play very well to begin with, but like Cooper Rush, good God, that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. And Trey Lance wasn't good either. So the Cowboys offense might be fucked moving forward, honestly.
No, their season's done.
Do you guys think that the Cowboys, where they're sitting right now, is going to have a chance to be picking inside the top 3 to 5 with only 3 wins this year? They don't have that many wins.
Yeah,
it's definitely possible.
They're flirting with it right now.
Schedule game?
I think so too. Yeah,
no. Dude, why not? We can play the schedule game with us Cowboys.
All right.
Dude.
Let me get my schedule.
I love the schedule game. I don't know if the listeners like it, but I love it.
It's for us.
What's their record right now? 3-6.
3-6.
Yeah, they're 3-6. All right, schedule game. Next game. They are playing in home versus the Texans. At home versus the Texans. Okay.
What do you think?
They won't have to worry about the sun though in that game. It's a Monday Night Football game.
And then they're at the Commanders. That's a loss.
Loss. Yeah,
loss.
For sure.
Yeah.
Home versus the Giants.
This is Thanksgiving, by the way, and I'm going to say this is a loss.
So that would make him 3-7, 3-8.
I was going to give this one to the Cowboys, to be honest.
So you break the tie then, Dylan.
On Thanksgiving against the Giants.
The sun will be beaming.
I don't think Daniel Jones will be playing this game. I'm okay with giving it to the Giants.
Okay.
I mean to the Cowboys. I'll give it to the Cowboys.
All right.
So 4-8.
So they were 3-6. So 3-7, 3-8, 4-8.
4-8.
Yep. Okay. And then they play at home versus the Bengals.
Loss.
Okay. So 4-9.
4-9.
All right. So at the Panthers.
Hold on a second.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Beat them last year. Panthers beat them last year.
Did they?
No, they didn't. I don't think they did.
The Panthers were one of the only teams to beat the Cowboys last year.
Didn't they only win one game? I thought they only beat the Texans.
I believe the Panthers beat the shit out of the Cowboys. Didn't they?
Let me look it up.
I think it might be the other way around, honestly.
Oh gosh, Panthers Cowboys, what, 2023?
But honestly, I'm gonna say the Panthers.
The Cowboys beat the shit out of them, 33-10.
What was it?
November 19, 2023.
The Cowboys lost to somebody terrible last year.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I'm picking the Panthers in this one.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
I will pick the. I don't know. Who are you picking, Dylan?
I kind of want to go Panthers. I like the way they look in the last 2 games.
It doesn't matter what I think. So I honestly don't know. So 4-10.
Okay. Home versus the Buccaneers.
Loss.
Okay. 4-11. At the Eagles.
I think the Eagles sweep them. No.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
4-12. And then home versus the Commanders.
Man,
this might depend on the Commanders.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
But with Marcus Mariota, they might still win. I'm gonna say a loss. Are they gonna go 4-13, dude?
The Cowboys 4-13. It's official. You heard it here first. The Cowboys are picking at number 7 next year.
No, I think that's
a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
probably
that's good enough for top 5. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter.
There you go.
A quarterback.
Depends on which position he's playing.
They aren't drafting a quarterback. I would be shocked if they drafted a quarterback. Right? Or I don't think they would draft a quarterback. I think they would roll Dak out again. What do you guys think about that?
Offensive lineman or wide receiver. I'll take it for the Cowboys. Yeah. You got to get one of those two.
Be good too.
You got to get a tackle or a quarterback depending on what pick you get. So
yeah.
Jerry Jones would absolutely pick like Ashton Jeanty though with the number 4 overall pick.
It wouldn't be the worst though. They need a run game. They need a run game.
Number 4 overall though, you would never see that anymore. But you're right. I mean, Ashton Jeanty is fucking awesome. So
yeah,
it might be good.
Well,
all right, 4-13. Looking forward to it.
All right, the 49ers have extended Diamador Lenore. All right, at least it rhymes. To a 5-year, $92 million contract. In 9 games played so far in 2024, he has 53 tackles, 6 pass deflections, 2 picks, and a forced fumble.
Wait a minute, Diamador Lenore in 2024?
Oh, spitting bars.
That's this year's life changed, right?
Yeah. A pretty good player, though.
How do you guys feel about this move mid-season? $92 million is a lot to give to a corner. I thought the 49ers were like almost out of money here.
I mean, it's got to be a good move. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that much about this guy. I watch the Niners every week. I've never heard of this guy before. That's on me. I'm almost certainly because I look at his stats and he's fucking great. But yeah, just looking at his stats, it's a good move.
I don't know where they got the money is my question. Because weren't they like deciding who to pay on offense? And now all of a sudden you have this huge contract given out to another player. It's just strange. It's strange.
I mean, they might have the cap space in future seasons, though. I don't know. I assume they're going to get rid of. I mean, I hate to say this, but because Debo's awesome, but I assume they're going to get rid of Debo here eventually, just to free up cap room. Maybe not this offseason, but within the next couple of years, I don't think Debo will still be on the team unless they like restructure his contract or something. But there's so much money on the offensive side of the ball, they got to make some sort of sacrifice. And just signing Ayuk offseason is probably not going to be him. So.
Yeah, this guy's still only 25 as well, too. So he's pretty young still. Yeah,
I guess that's good. And also, another thing with Debo is that he was barely utilized in this close win. And you got to think, like, with Ayuk being out and he's not gaining that much extra of a role, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange how the 49ers are functioning right now.
Kind of looks like they're trying to pass off the torch to Pearsall. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah, he did.
He looked very good.
Yeah, he looked very, very good. All right. Now we're going to move on past the news. Right now we got He Hate Me. He Hate Me. I guess I'll start my He Hate Me, right? I wasn't going to do it this week. I wasn't going to do He Hate Me this week at all. It's becoming too dark and too strange, and I have to dive deep into a part of my brain I don't really want to go into. So I was like, maybe I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep it light. I'm going to keep it nice. It is what it is, okay? So this week, we all know who hates me, right? It's the Bears again. I mean, they're trying to make changes, but whatever. That's not on the list. We're not going to talk about that. I can talk about that later. I can talk about it for days, actually. My number one He Hate Me is Kyler Murray. He lulled me to sleep with these 14 to 17, maybe a 20-point game. You maybe could see the upside, but you weren't really trusting him that much. So you bench him for a Matthew Stafford. And then the game that Matthew Stafford scores 9 points, Kyler Murray pops off for 28. And not only does he do that, he beats me in my home league too. So it's just like, fuck you, Kyler Murray. I'm sure you're a great guy, but you definitely hate me. And I probably will take a couple of years off drafting you in fantasy because of this. That's just what it is. I'm probably going to start you a couple more times. More Kyler for Brian. You know who also hates me? Is the special teams unit for the Denver Broncos. Because they had a chance. They had a chance to do something great. They had a chance to beat the Chiefs. They had every chance in the world to beat the Chiefs. Now, I'm not just talking about the guy that got steamrolled on that field goal attempt with the worst technique you've ever seen. Basically looks like he's falling backward with a sack of potatoes on his chest to get the field goal blocked at the end of the game, right? I'm talking about Will Lutz, too. Will Lutz has been a kicker for a good amount of time. He's been a kicker you don't think is going to miss 2 kicks in a game. His only 2 kicks in a game. And if you make one of those kicks, it's a different game. Instead, you miss 2. I don't care the circumstances, dude.
It was a bad day for kickers in general.
You fucked that game up for your whole team, and so did that guy. I'm sure that guy that was on that line blocking for that field goal is cut. I imagine he's cut. He looked like my 2 little brothers could have overpowered him in that situation, dude. He tripped over like 3 guys and fell on his back.
He'll be on the Bears next year. starting right guard.
Dude. Yeah, I could definitely see it. The Bears have a kicker's curse, so it's just fucking they all hate me, dude. And fantasy football is not nice either. You know, it hasn't been super nice to me, but also I'm in my head. So what do I do? You guys ready for the Week 10 review? And before that, the RTP Standings update.
Let's do it.
We are. By the way, loved He Hate Me. That was great. I'm glad you did one.
Thank you.
This week.
Thank you.
All right. Standings update. Still in first place, Dylan. 94 and 58. You went 10 and 4 this week. We all were about the same this week. You and I both went 10 and 4. Kai went 9 and 5. So standings didn't really change a whole lot. Kai is 2 games back of you now. So you got a game up on Kai this week. He's 92 and 60. And I am still 7 back of Kai at 85 and 67.
Sorry, dude. You're just
hanging in there. It doesn't look good for the Bry man, but I'm hanging in there.
Hey, dude. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's
true.
Okay.
It's true.
All right.
It's good drinking
Week 10
advice.
Review. Dude, stick in there. You got to be there the whole night. Don't pass out early on me.
Yeah.
All right. For the Week 10 review, we have the Dolphins 23, Rams 15, Tua 20 of 28, 270 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. The Dolphins' run game was non-existent, which I don't think any of us expected. Devon Achane 12 for 37, 5 catches for 15 yards.
And I think Raheem Mostert didn't even have a carry.
Yeah, which was weird. Yeah. Nothing.
He fumbled last week, I think, in the second half, and since then, it looks like he might have gone into the doghouse. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm kind of thinking Mostert's droppable. You don't have to, but if you want somebody on the waiver wire, I think he's safe to drop at this current time, unless you have like Achane or something. But then again, if Achane goes down, I think they give the ball to Jalen Wright more than Mostert even.
Dude, where's Jalen Wright? Let's see him. It's kind of surprising that run game was that bad, but you know, Sean McVay has his ways. Malik Washington scored on an 18-yard rushing touchdown. There's the rushing production. Yeah,
I like Malik Washington. That was somebody I talked about in the preseason. Yeah. I think he's got talent. I think that he's going to be a part of this offense next year.
He's really fast too. He's got the speed.
It's a great name as well, Malik Washington. Welcome to the NFL. Tyreek Hill, 3 catches, 16 yards, 1 touchdown. That bothers me. It was announced prior to this game that Tyreek Hill is dealing with a torn ligament in his wrist, and he is playing through it. My question is,
why?
I thought you were a cheetah. You know, I thought you could get through this, but you're not.
Well, I mean, he's playing through it. That's good enough, right? I would be nervous if I had him in fantasy, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, you're playing him every week no matter what, because he's the best receiver in football, or at least a top 3, top 4 guy. But that's a little scary if you have Tyreek Hill.
It's the worst year ever to draft Tyreek Hill was this season. Moving on to the Rams, Matthew Stafford, 32 of 46, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Are we sure about that touchdown? Did he have a touchdown? I was looking earlier. I thought he didn't have a touchdown.
I don't know. That guy did the notes.
Let me see. No, he did not have a touchdown.
Okay.
He just had a pick.
Must have been a dyslexic moment. I apologize.
It is. And you know what? For a guy that threw 46 passes, did not even eclipse 10 points in fantasy, that's very disappointing. The Rams look disappointing in general. Kyron, 15 for 62, 5 catches for 20. Still a very viable fantasy football day, if you ask me.
Not if you ask me. I needed him to have like 23, and he had like 11, and he fumbled the ball as well. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a stinker necessarily, but you wanted more. Puka 9 for 98, Cup 7 for 80. Both kind of had a good game for fantasy and real life, but it's just not enough. Couldn't get in the end zone. How do you guys feel about the Rams losing this game? Didn't we think they were better than this?
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's why it's pretty disappointing too, because I thought the Rams were, hitting some kind of stride, and they were probably gonna win out a little bit on the way to the playoffs. But man, after a loss like this, I'm kind of hesitant on them again. They're not as trustworthy as I thought they would have been.
I think this was just a stinker of a game. I'm not too worried about them. I still think that they're going to be in the playoff race all year. I think they still might make the playoffs. The Dolphins are like a team that we talked about on Saturday, where they're going to be playing spoiler probably most of the time here. I don't think that they're going to make a push towards the playoffs. And this was just kind of like a spoiler moment for them. They are good enough to beat teams like the Rams any given week. They're just not quite as good as the Rams. So I think the Rams just had a stinker. I mean, Matt Stafford doesn't quite look like himself this year. He's, Father Time is catching up to him. Like his stats were okay, but didn't have a touchdown. Just kind of looks a little old out there. But I still like the Rams' chances to potentially make the playoffs. I still think their defense is pretty good. I think they just got bit by the Dolphins. It just happened.
Yeah.
Well, they have a chance to really redeem themselves next week with a game against the Patriots before they play the Eagles. So I definitely think next game is a must win if this one wasn't already. For me, I just you can't lose games like this, especially when the Cardinals are running away with that division right now. It looks like they keep winning games.
And the Niners are coming back.
They're not like running away with it. The Cardinals are only 2 up on the Rams right now.
Yeah, but I think
they do have the tiebreaker, I believe, though, too.
Yeah, they beat the Niners.
So technically they have 2.5.
Yeah. So
the Cardinals beat the Rams? Or am I thinking of the Niners?
The Cardinals beat the Rams and the Niners.
Okay, that's what I thought. So the Cardinals, I wouldn't say that's like the closest division right now, isn't it? Top to bottom.
I think so.
Yeah, right now,
it is.
It's the Cardinals are 6-4, Niners are 5-4, and then the other two are 4-5. But Arizona is 2-0 in the division right now. They haven't lost a game in the division.
Yeah.
All right. Second game, tale of two halves, if you will. Lions 26, Texans 23. Jared Goff, 15 of 30, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks. Not nicey, dude. Not nicey. Quarterbacks who throw 5 interceptions are now 9 and 117 since 1970.
Damn.
Only Matt Ryan, Tony Romo, Mark Rippon, Bobby Wade.
Wade Willis.
Wade Willis. Oh, Wade Willis, Elway, Fouts, Joe Ferguson, and Johnny Unitas have pulled that off. Do you think that that's a good list to be on or a bad list to be on? Because you've thrown 5 picks.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't even know who Wade Willis or Joe Ferguson are, but the rest of those names are pretty good.
Yeah. Mark Rippon,
Super Bowl winner.
Dude, yeah.
Dan Fouts was awesome. Elway is one of the best of all time. Matt Ryan, Tony Romo. I mean, it happens, I guess, apparently. It wasn't just that Goff was throwing all those picks, but like CJ Stroud was too. They were going like back and forth. Yeah. There was like just like 4 straight possessions where they threw picks. I don't know if it was that much, but it just seemed like it was just back and forth. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now?
It was just a timing issue. I noticed that even there was like one interception where the dude basically just took it right out of like it was Sam Laporta's hands. He was just like, And I'm like, oh, that just doesn't happen normally. So he made up for it. He made up for not throwing picks for like 5 straight games in one game. And they still win. All right.
Lions,
Jahmyr Gibbs, 19 for 71. David Montgomery, 12 for 32 and a touchdown. Jamison Williams came back 3 for 53. Not bad for your first game. Amon-Ra, 6 for 60. Laporta, 3 for 66. And he caught 2 touchdowns.
No, they both caught touchdowns. They both caught touchdowns.
Caught the 2 touchdowns. Okay, you ought to be more specific in the notes, but that's just me.
Kai's now 0 for 2 right now. This is a Kai game as well.
I'm just reading, caught the 2 touchdowns after Sam Laporta here. My bad. It's my first time reading the notes and reading them out loud.
Well, now Kai and I are in a silent competition right now to see who messes up the least. So he's up 2-0 on me right now.
Carlton Davis had 2 interceptions and has some of the craziest eyes I've ever seen in my life. I didn't like how they looked at the camera a couple times. CJ Stroud, 19 for 33, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Didn't look as good as I said he would preseason. That's fine. Mixon struggles but finds the end zone. 25 carries for 46 yards. That stinks. 1 touchdown, 2 catches, 44 yards. John Mechie, Kai's guy, shows out. 5 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. And Kamari Lassiter had 2 of the 5 interceptions. Dude's pretty good. Kamari Lassiter is. Yeah. I like that guy. How'd you guys feel about this game in general?
Well, Joe Mixon struggled, but the Lions' run defense is so damn good that it's just like I feel, and he's been so amazing this year that I think that like if you're a fantasy manager, you just gotta let this one go. It just is what it is. It's encouraging that they kept feeding him even though he was inefficient. So if I'm a Mixon owner, I don't even have an issue with this personally. I'm just like, okay, just chalk it up to facing a really tough matchup. Other than that, though, just a really gutsy win by the Lions. I mean, they were down and out, dude. I thought they were just toast in the first half. The Texans looked like they were just being completely dominant. Then CJ Stroud came out and threw I know CJ Stroud had way less picks than Jared Goff's, but it felt like Stroud's interceptions were a lot more costly to his team than Goff's were.
Yeah.
Obviously the Lions won the game, but it seemed like the Lions fed off of those 2 specific interceptions from Carlton Davis and kind of brought him back into the game. So
yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. The Texans sold this game so hard, too. I mean, they should have ran away with this game, honestly. But, yeah, I mean, this is just what gutsy teams do, and this was a very gritty matchup. It's a good one, though.
It was, dude. I saw the score, and it was 23-7. I turned it on after halftime, right? I was just like, okay, I'm going to watch this game, because I wasn't watching it first. I saw it kind of get away, and I'm like, oh, this is, a stinker for Sunday Night Football here, But look back at it, and I got to tell you, the difference between Goff and CJ Stroud was that Goff could shake off his picks. Goff came back with a couple good throws. He hit Laporta for that touchdown, and that's where it kind of changed for me. It was just like, okay, he's found his rhythm. 5 interceptions is a lot to shake off. I got to give it to Goff. That was really impressive to do that. All in all,
good quarterback.
Yeah, great quarterback, if you will.
I do like that we posted a TikTok this week after Saturday that we were talking about the MVP contest or whatever, like who's going to win MVP. And somebody in the comments was like, forgetting Jared Goff, and then Jared Goff immediately threw 5 picks. I was just like, that's funny. I just thought that was hilarious.
Whoever said that, I mean, respect for your opinion. I love it. Everybody's got to have their opinions. But to say Jared Goff belongs in the MVP race is outlandish, because he's in the role of game manager this year, and it's been very clear to me that you can't really do that. You can't give the MVP to Jared Goff if you're not considering Brock Purdy as well.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, he had 14 touchdowns and 4 picks coming into this game. So it's like, I mean, really good season, but I wouldn't call that MVP numbers or anything like that. Technically, the MVPs of the Lions are Gibbs and Monty.
Well, now it looks very subpar. So that would be 16-9 now for Goff.
16-9 now, yeah.
Yeah, it would be very subpar now.
I mean, he's still completing 72% of his passes, though, which is fantastic. Yeah. But yeah.
Dang, and he had 50% completion percentage, and he's still above that 70. That's pretty pretty impressive. All right, the next game. Just took him out behind the shed. Cardinals 31, Jets 6. Kyler is nearly perfect on the day, 22 of 24, 266, 1 touchdown. He took that Jared Goff role and really ran with it, didn't he? He played like Jared Goff this week. Trey Benson, 10 for 62. James Conner, 12 for 33 and a touchdown. 5 catches for 80 yards. Kind of split the load, but it looks like James Conner really still came out on top, even though it was a split backfield.
Yeah, it's just frustrating with James Conner, because it's like sometimes, they got him in a... like some weeks he's catching a lot of passes, and then some weeks he's not. It's like they should just have him do that all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
I feel like this split / 3-headed monster is going to continue the rest of the season, though, unfortunately. Like, I'm a James Conner owner. This is making me a little nervous, the Trey Benson usage. I don't know if they're just getting him in there because they just were dominating the Jets, maybe, but it seems like this is something that they're starting to do more and more, and I think that this is going to be more of the norm moving forward because DeMercado's still in there too, as like a passing down kind of guy. So I still think James Conner's the lead dog, but like if you have Conner, Trey Benson's a pretty good handcuff to pick up. I would pick up Benson over DeMercado personally.
You still trust James Conner in your starting lineups?
I would, yeah, but not as much as I did maybe like a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Trey McBride, 4 for 71. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 for 54 in the touchdown. It looks like he is kind of broken out of the little slump he was in. Maybe a couple questions answered there. Finding the end zone in this game.
I think it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be up down with him all year.
Yeah, I'm not bought into that either. I think it's going to be hit or miss every single week, honestly.
Just for this, maybe just for his rookie season. I think like in the next like year or two, I think he'll be a tremendous player.
I'm with you.
All right, so I'm going to look at this right here.
Kyler had 2 rushing touchdowns as well.
All right, so Kyler Murray, yes, he had 2 rushing touchdowns on 3 carries, 21 yards. Everybody else in the passing game kind of was subpar, to say the least. Like it was just Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and James Conner. No real surprise there outside of maybe a good game here and there for one of those guys. On the Jets side, we have Aaron Rodgers, 22-35, 151 yards, a fumble lost.
I read that he only had 2 completions in this game that went over 7 yards.
He's washed.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers might be washed, dude.
He might be
washed. Breece Hall, 10 for 52, 4 catches, 31 yards. Not the game you might need from Breece Hall, fantasy football wise, or in the NFL. Really didn't make a difference on that offense. Jets offense looked completely just flat the entire game. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams held under 50 yards. Wilson with 41, Devontae with 31. Not looking good. 3rd straight home game for the Cardinals where they did not allow a touchdown. That's crazy.
That's pretty good.
They were playing.
Holy shit.
They were playing some pretty bad opponents. I mean, the Chargers are good, but then the Bears and the Jets. So, but still, great stat. Awesome for the Cardinals because they, their defense has kind of been getting dogged all year. So good for them.
Yeah, dude. And defense is really carrying them in. I mean, those are still NFL teams that you're holding down with no touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing really to say
even
about
bad teams score touchdowns.
Yeah. Unless you're the Bears, they haven't scored one in a long time. Nothing really of note to say about this game other than all the fantasy prowess was on the Cardinals side. They're looking pretty good. So how are you guys feeling about the Cardinals at the head of this division? Do you think they can hold on?
I mean, of course, we got the 49ers to worry about. I mean, if they're back now with CMC in the lineup, that's always going to be in the back of our minds. But I think the Cardinals could be good enough to hold on and maybe keep the wild card. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm still not all the way bought in on the Cardinals winning the division.
Yeah, it's one of those teams for sure where I'm like, I want to be bought in, but I'm not sure.
Record-wise, all 4 of the teams are still in it, like we just talked about. I don't think the Seahawks are good enough to win the division. I don't think they're a playoff team. The other 3, any one of those 3, I still think could potentially win. I'm like I said, I'm not counting out the Rams. The Niners are the Niners. The Niners you're gonna worry about them until the moment they're eliminated from playoff contention. So I'm not there yet on the Cardinals, but they do look great the last month.
That's true, and it does make for a very exciting week 17 and 18 with them playing the Rams and the Niners the last 2 weeks. Those could be
really good
games. Those could be very meaningful games going into the last 2 weeks where we don't get a lot of those. So hopefully it's good. Anything else to say about this game before we move on?
Nope,
not at all. All right. And for the next game, Chargers 27, Titans 17. Justin Herbert was not asked to do very much. 14 for 18, 161, a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. J.K. Dobbins 15 for 50. Gus Edwards, 10 for 55, split the workload. Does Gus Edwards coming back worry you about the usage for J.K. Dobbins in this offense?
A little bit for me personally. They use Gus a lot, honestly.
Yeah,
especially early on too. So yeah, I think Gus Edwards is a pretty decent waiver pickup this week. Honestly, he's not top of my list or anything like that, but I think he's worth a grab.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely worrisome. It's definitely a player that they like in that offense, and it's definitely someone that will eat into that workload.
I thought Gus Edwards was the running back to own coming into the season, like the start of the season. Out of these two, I still feel that way. I think Gus Edwards has a little bit more juice. I think he could squeeze a little bit more out of it than Dobbins can. But Dobbins has been good.
Yeah, I think they'll use Gus in the red zone more too. Honestly, like on the goal line. Yeah,
good. He's very powerful north-south runner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Quentin Johnston caught the lone receiving touchdown. That's 2 touchdowns in a row, 2 different weeks.
He's turning into like a very flexible play every single week. You're not always going to get production from him, but like he is a flex-worthy play every single week, honestly.
Yeah.
Huge,
dude. Huge.
Hey, for a guy that we thought couldn't catch the ball without looking at it, you know what I mean? Hit on like this, he's doing pretty good. Will Levis plays a solid game, does not do nearly enough, right? 18 for 23, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 41 rushing yards. Okay. How do we feel about Will Levis only throwing 5 incompletions?
I mean, it's better than the norm. I mean, he basically if Will Levis doesn't turn the ball over, I guess it's a decent game. You know, I think that's pretty much what it's come down to for his bar.
Broken clock's still right twice a day, right? I mean, it was a really good defense he did that on, so that is promising. But I'm not drinking the Will Levis Kool-Aid just yet. It probably has mayo in
it. My problem is, does Calvin Ridley need to ball out to make Will Levis look good? Because that's what it looks like. All of his production came on throws to Calvin Ridley pretty much. Other than the 5 receptions that Calvin Ridley had, he threw 13 passes for 110 yards, 13 completions for 110 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
So outside of Calvin Ridley, Will Levis does not look that good. Tony Pollard, 9 for 44, and Tyjae Spears, 7 for 47. Split the workload. Either way you look at it, it's not good for fantasy. Spears is really cutting into the Pollard's upside there. Are we panicking on Tony Pollard?
Nah,
I wouldn't say panic, but it's definitely similar to J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. It's just another thing to worry about.
But the thing is, though, I think Tony Pollard is like way better than J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards. So he's had a really nice season for them. I don't think that this will. I still think he's going to get most of the carries. It might not be like a whole lot more, but I still think he's going to be fantasy relevant more than Tyjae is.
Yeah, but you also just have to think about the ceiling of this offense in general, though, too. I mean, it's already pretty low just because of how bad the Titans are, so.
That's true. Maybe they get more guys involved, but this was still a sort of competitive game where the Titans weren't blown out. So you have to think they're using Tyjae Spears in a situation where the game is close. They're not getting blown out. So is he going to be part of the game script? That's yet to be seen. On the Chargers end, do we think that they're an actual competitor this year in the AFC West coming out of that division?
I do.
Too.
I do. They're well coached. They have a really good defense. Got a good quarterback.
Good run game.
I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but yeah, they're definitely playoff contenders for sure.
It looks like they might. The Chargers have the best defense by points per game basis.
Mm-hmm.
They've allowed really 30 less points than any other team in the league. Second place is the Steelers with 146. Chargers 118. So really good defense. Defense is going to get you to the playoffs. All they got to do is keep it going.
Yeah.
Clean football. I like it. I like the way the Harbaugh's coach. Do we get to see a Ravens-Chargers playoff game?
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Be really cool. We didn't think we were going to actually be exposed to that preseason, but it could be upon us.
Be the second time they've ever played in the playoffs.
Yeah, let's see the power go out again.
2 outdoor stadium. Well, I mean, I guess they still got the lights on in the stadium, depending on what time of the day it is, huh?
Yeah, where's the sun?
What about the moon?
Where's the moon at? All right, that game said what we need to say. We're going to move on to the next game on our list, and I'm sure Kai will be all smiles right now. Eagles 34, Cowboys 6. This was an absolute beatdown for the ages. Kai called it. We gave him shit. We said, now that you've said your team, it's so secure, you're so sure your team's gonna win. Like, I gave him shit for that, but
they were so injured.
They were said Jalen Hurts scores 4 times, 2 pass, 2 rush, just about the kind of game you think he's gonna have. 14 for 20, 202, 2 passing touchdowns, 56 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. How does that make you feel, Kai? Do you feel like the Eagles are back?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the way that the offense is running now, it's just they're not asking Jalen Hurts to do a lot. Just smartly run the ball when you need to convert the third down or whatever. Obviously, we're gonna push your ass when you get up to the goal line, and then they're just giving them very simple, quick throws. It's working out. It's working very beautifully. Just run the ball, use Saquon, quick passing, boom, it's working.
The Chicago Bears need to get on the phone. Hello? Kellen Moore. Hello? How do you run an offense?
Hello?
Oh, really? Throw it out there really quickly so your athletes can make a play? Okay, cool. Bye. Looked really
Weather
great,
Weather will not fuck with Kellen Moore, too. He's used to the sun because he coached in Dallas for so long.
So stupid.
All right, before we get any farther into this game, I know, Brian, you're very excited to talk about this. You're very excited to talk about Jerry Jones and the tomfoolery that's going on in Dallas that involves nature and the sun and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So fill us in here with what's going on in Dallas with the state of Jerry Jones.
So obviously everybody who watches football kind of knows that the Cowboys have a sun problem in their stadium. One side of the field faces the windows that has the sun that approximately about 5 p.m. Dallas time, which is where they play most of their home games. The sun comes in shining on the offense that's moving the ball down that part of the field. It really affected the Dallas offense in this game. CeeDee Lamb didn't catch a touchdown pass because he couldn't see the ball coming at him in the end zone. And you could see him on the sideline talking to Mike McCarthy, and he's pointing at his eyes and looking up. And, it's basically, I couldn't see the damn ball because the sun's in my face. So Jerry Jones had a lot to say about the sun after the game. Here we go. Here's some quotes from Jerry. Quote, "By the way, we know where the sun is going to be when we decide to flip the coin or not. We do know where the damn sun is going to be in our own stadium." A reporter asks him, why not put curtains over the windows, which is something they do during concerts at AT&T Stadium, by the way. Jerry goes, well, let's just tear the damn stadium down and build another one. Are you kidding me? Everybody has got the same thing. Every team that comes in here has the same issues. I'm saying the world knows where the sun is. You get to know that almost a year in advance. Someone asked me about the sun. What about the sun? Where's the moon? Hilarious stuff from Jerry Jones. And then he doubled down on it today, saying that it's actually part of their home field advantage and that it didn't affect the Eagles because Kellen Moore coached there for so long. And he knew how to prepare for it. Dude, what's going on here? Just put curtains up, Jerry. Why are you being stubborn about this? This is crazy, right?
I think Jerry needs to go to bed.
I mean,
Good.
I love that the Cowboys have a bad stadium. I think that's fucking hilarious. I think that's hysterical. All they have to do is just close the windows and it turns into a good stadium again.
Who would have thought?
The Dallas Cowboys right now are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have the fifth worst record, I think, in the NFL.
And they're going to be 4-13.
They're going to be 4-13. I think the NFL is a little bit more entertaining when Jerry Jones is spiraling. Okay, so this could be the start of something really great here. All right, it really could.
Mike McCarthy's gone after this year, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think so too.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, if Jerry Jones brings him back another year, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised either.
There's only one man that can save the Cowboys.
At this point, Jerry Jones is extremely unpredictable, but just the way that he's been raging all year, he's this mad because the Cowboys are a train wreck and he realizes it. He, like Dylan said, he is spiraling. So I know he's going to make a change. That's, and I don't think they're going to change out Dak because they just paid him. So who else can they change? He's the GM. They're not going to change the GM. So it's got to be the coach. Mike McCarthy's got to fall on the sword. And deservedly so. He's not even actually falling on the sword. This is his doing. He's been a bad coach for a long time. That Super Bowl's covered up a lot of his mistakes over the years, I would say. He's not a good coach.
The thing about Jerry Jones is you have the most appealing GM job available if you give it up, and you have the most appealing head coaching job available if you give it up. Dude, give it up. Give up. There will be guys lining up to interview for the Dallas Cowboys GM and head coaching job, right?
He's power hungry, dude. He ain't gonna give that up,
dude. But where's the moon?
That's like it's like just telling the king of the seven kingdoms to give up the Iron Throne. He ain't giving up the Iron Throne, dude.
Nope.
I'll go mad before I give up this throne.
Jerry Jones is mad in both senses of the word. Where's the moon?
Let's forget about the sun. Where's the moon?
We know where the sun's going to be a year in advance. That was another crazy thing to say. We know where the sun's going to be. It's a year out.
Dude, I've been alive for, 80 years. The sun's been in the same place every day. Depends on what time of year it is. Hey, Jerry.
Do you think they put up curtains next year?
No.
I don't think so either. They will, like, the moment Jerry Jones stops being GM one way or the other, I think.
Dude, you could put in rolling shades and make it cool and put the logo on it. Anyways.
I agree. That would look cool.
I digress.
They don't have to. The curtains don't have to be there for every game. If it's like, like they don't play 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. games very often, I don't think. But like if it's like a Sunday night football game or a Monday night football game, no, I mean like 10 a.m. our time. They don't play a lot of 10 a.m. games. Yeah. So if they play afternoon games, put them up. If you have a primetime game, don't put it up.
So simple.
There you go. All right. To continue with the game, AJ Brown, 5 for 109. Very good game. Very productive game. Goddard, 2 for 25 with the touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 14 for 66. Not the huge spark you needed maybe from a Saquon Barkley on your fantasy team.
Well, they didn't really need him too much in this game.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's just game script got you. Devontae Smith, 2 for 14. Also not super great. Probably didn't need him. Cooper Rush, 13 for 23, 45 yards. Turns out the Cowboys don't look better with Cooper Rush. I'm not going to say who said that, but it was said.
I just said it was possible that they get a spark from their backup quarterback because that happens in sports sometimes. I just said it was possible. I didn't say I thought it was going to happen. I just said it was. I picked the Eagles. I think
I think Vic Fangio was looking at this quarterback matchup and was like, "Oh boy, I'm going to terrorize this man."
Probably. Trey Lance, 4 for 6, 21 yards and a pick. Not much better.
No.
Some would say worse. CeeDee Lamb, 6 just 24 yards or 21 yards. Not very good. Not very good. No. The sun got in his eyes. I heard the sun got in his eyes. I'm not sure.
Should have had a touchdown.
Jake Ferguson, 4 for 24. He led the Cowboys in receiving.
Under 100 passing yards. That is bad.
I mean, throwing it 23 times and only getting 45 yards is fucking abysmal. I think we could do that.
In pregame warm-up, for sure.
I don't know if I'd survive. I don't know if I'd survive one hit being on the field.
Oh no, you wouldn't, but I would. I'm different.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Unless it's Jason Angeles out there.
Way too soon.
No, way too soon. Not really a great game to watch, but I'm sure it was really fun for you to watch, right, Kai? You watched this entire game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, it stopped being fun after a while, though. I was like, all right, we're just kicking the shit out of a dead horse pretty much. So
stop being fun. What do you mean stop being fun? I love when my team blows people out, dude. They've actually only blown people out twice since I've been a fan. So
wow.
Twice ever?
No, it seems like that. It seems like that.
Yeah, I believed you totally. I was like, that does seem like something the Bears would do.
Even in Chicago, blowouts are close. I mean, it is what it is. Definitely did not enjoy watching this game, though. It was very boring. On to another boring game. Vikings 12, Jags 7. The old Sam Darnold came to play. I'm talking about 2019 Sam Darnold. I'm talking about mononucleosis Sam Darnold.
Seeing
The
ghosts.
graphic they had the mononucleosis.
24 for 38, 241 yards, 3 interceptions. Those interceptions, I think either 2 of them or 3 of them came when he was targeting Justin Jefferson.
I believe it was all 3. I think it was all 3.
You can't expect that to happen every game, but it still happened. Okay, 3 picks is a lot. Aaron Jones was injured and came back into the game, 17 for 88. He's obviously still their lead back. Justin Jefferson, like you said, mid-game, 5 for 48, was intercepted on a couple targets. Not much you can do about it. This whole game was a stinker. Hockenson, 8 for 72. I was a week late. It is what it is. Glad to see him back, though.
Yeah, he looks good.
You guys think the Vikings are able to bounce back? I thought the Jags' defense was bad.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't think Sam Darnold was going to be good all year, right?
No.
He has been excellent this season. You knew he was probably going to have a bad game or two. So I don't think this is anything to worry about for the Vikings. Sam Darnold's looked really good this year.
Yeah, I mean, and they still have a tremendous defense. I mean, the defense is pretty much why they won this game.
Yeah.
It would have been a devastating loss for the Vikings just because, like, strength of schedule, you're supposed to win these games. But they ended up winning. Mac Jones, a.k.a. the other Trevor Lawrence.
The sequel nobody wanted, but everybody received instead. Just anyways.
The same guy. You put long hair on Mac Jones, you got Trevor Lawrence, 14 for 22, 111 yards, 2 picks, and a rushing touchdown. By the way,
that is a Trevor Lawrence stat line.
It is, dude. Travis Etienne, 11 for 44. He led the Jags with rushing. Evan Ingram, 6 for 40.
Ugh.
You know?
Yeah, this game.
Not a very good offensive game in this one. No,
Yeah.
Really, the only true like fantasy difference maker was probably Hockenson.
Yeah.
15 points.
Yeah.
And if I would have started Evan Ingram in our home league, I would have beat Smitty, I think. It's fine. It's fine. I gave up on him. It is what it
Who'd
is.
you start instead?
Hunter Henry.
Ooh.
Oh,
Which I thought was a good play.
I thought I would have.
Spicy.
I thought was a good play. He'd been heavy usage the last couple weeks.
That would have been a coin flip for me. I don't know who I would have played there, but I don't fault you for playing Hunter Henry.
No.
This game was a stinker. Nobody liked it. Actually, if you still play with defenses, the other playmaker was the Vikings defense.
Yeah,
because they scored pretty highly. It is what it is.
Honestly, the Jaguars probably did too.
Yeah,
I don't know that for sure, but a lot of turnovers.
Do we really need to talk about this game any more than we already have? I feel like there's not a lot to talk about.
Tank Bigsby only got like 2 carries in this game though, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like it's swinging back into Etienne. Yeah.
Hey, you don't lose your job because you're injured.
That's what Doug Peterson's philosophy is. Did you see after the game too that somebody asked him about a play call that he had, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because you guys wouldn't understand." It's like, oh god, he fucking what a dick,
dude. Just such an insufferable guy. You know, insufferable.
He is so fired. He might get fired before the end of the season. Honestly, I thought he was going to get fired last week after the Eagles game. Honestly,
man, it's like his downfall kind of needs to be studied. You know, after the Eagles Super Bowl year.
Or maybe he just got lucky that Nick Foles had like some magic.
Maybe, honestly, I do think about that sometimes. Like, did Doug Peterson get lucky? Maybe.
Yeah, he did. Nick Foles played lights out at the end of that season, dude.
Yeah, he did.
It is what it is.
Doug Peterson tried to tank a game and then got fired immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Look, I want a better draft pick. And the Eagles are like, nah, not
like,
Philly. Get out
You're not going to be here.
Man, like the anti-Lovie Smith. I digress. 49ers. Yeah, 49ers 23, Bucks 20. The 49ers squeaked out of this game with a win. Jake Moody missed 3 field goals in the game, was still called on to kick the game winner and made it. Talk about ice in your veins, right?
Jake Moody's had a weird career, dude. So, correct me if I'm wrong. He got picked like in the 3rd or 4th round, right? He got picked pretty high for a kicker. Then he struggled a little bit in his rookie year. Like he wasn't awful, but he missed some kicks that he should have made. And then they go to the Super Bowl, and he sets the record for the longest field goal ever made. I know him and Butker both did in that game, so I can't remember which one did it first or which one did it second. I don't know if he still has it, but he at one point, at the very least, he had the longest field goal in Super Bowl history. And now in this game, I think he's been okay this year. I haven't paid too close attention to his stats, but 3 missed field goals in this game, and then they jog him back out there for the game winner, and he nails it. So just a really up and down career so far for Jake Moody.
Yeah. You're right, though, Dylan. Ice in his veins, so for sure. Like, we think that shaking off 5 interceptions is crazy. I think shaking off 3 missed field goals in one game, it's just as crazy.
So before this game, he had only missed 1 kick.
Oh.
No, really good year then.
Yeah. So you miss 3 in one game, come back.
Has he missed any extra points or anything?
No, he's perfect on those. So he's 16 for 20 this year.
Well,
not bad. Not bad. Brock Purdy looked fantastic, some would say. 25 for 36, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns. A lot of yards for a game manager. CMC came back in his debut, looked a little bit rusty, 13 carries, 39 yards, 6 for 68. Still got a good amount of carries for a guy coming off a half a season injury.
Yeah, 19 touches is a lot for a first game back.
Well, six in the pass game too.
Yeah. Shanahan was asked a couple of days before the game whether there'd be like splits between the backfield, like Gorindo, Jordan Mason. And he didn't give an actual answer because it's Kyle Shanahan, but the way he was talking about it basically sounded like, no, we're probably going to give Christian McCaffrey his full workload. So I kind of expect that to be the case for the entire season.
Hey, fantasy managers, if you drafted him first overall, it's looking good for you late season. Ricky Pearsall scores his first career touchdown, 4 catches, 73 yards and a touchdown. Looked pretty good. He looked fast out there.
Oh,
know?
Yeah.
Another good waiver pickup, by the way, this week if he's out there, Ricky Pearsall.
I like him a lot. He's got that. I can tell he's got that dog mentality to him.
Yeah, dude, he got shot in the chest before the season. He's playing. That's
crazy.
I know.
I mean, that helps too, of course. Yeah.
I just remember when the Niners. I just remember when the Niners drafted him. CJ Stroud was on a live draft show, and he was visibly upset that the Texans didn't get him. So I was like, I like Ricky Pearsall a lot.
Juwan Jennings, 7 for 93. Is Juwan Jennings the wide receiver 1 in San Francisco?
He might be, dude. I'm gonna say it. He might be. He's not the best. He's not the best receiver there, but he's making plays right now, and Debo just straight up isn't.
Yeah,
not really.
I just think it's because of the way that they use Debo that would make me actually believe that Juwan Jennings might be the wide receiver 1, just because they use Debo in so many different ways. They utilize him in run plays and this and that. So I think Juwan Jennings is actually more of the guy that you want running downfield to catch these routes. Yeah.
I mean, Debo's the number 35 wide receiver in PPR this year. He missed 1 game and then played very little of another, but 18 points, missed the game, 10 points, 3 points, 20 points, 0 points, 12 points, bye week, 12 points. I mean, that's just not getting it done. Juwan Jennings, been really good. So I don't know. Out of all the receivers in San Francisco, I would be the most eager to play Juwan Jennings, at least this week.
Yeah. And going forward, too.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy's looking his way down the field.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually getting down the field targets. George Kittle, 3 for 57 and the touchdown. Beautiful touchdown. Just a spectacular touchdown, just like you'd expect from him. Debo Samuel, not really effective as a weapon on this team. During this game, I believe he had 3 catches for a couple of yards.
Not very much. I think he had 5 for 62.
Not good, not bad.
Yeah.
But got into an altercation with his teammate on the sideline, put his hands on his teammate. I guess he doesn't watch the podcast. I just told the world and Puka Nacua last week to keep his hands to himself. And now Debo puts his hands on a teammate. Not a good look.
Jumped him in the throat.
Yeah, dude. Not a good look at all.
I would love to know what that was about. I know Jake Moody had just missed a field goal, but it's not the long snapper's fault, was it? Or was it a bad snap?
Yeah, Not that I saw. Yeah.
Nothing's bad enough to physically assault your teammate. I could see him off this team come to the end of the season. it's just all coming to a head. It's not looking good with the vibes with Debo in San Francisco lately.
I agree.
All right. Baker Mayfield, 18 for 29, 116 yards and a touchdown. Had that really good play where he basically stiff-armed Nick Bosa.
And completed the pass.
For a couple of seconds, ran with him.
Bro, it felt like 30 seconds in real time. I was like, what is happening right now? He just kept going, kept running, and then completed the pass, like Kai said. That was like the coolest play of the weekend.
It was cool. It felt like Nick Bosa was being soft, though. I was like, dude, Nick Bosa I feel like normally would have just ripped the guy down by his arm or something, right?
I was literally like, what is Bosa doing?
I know, he's like
fucking take his ass down, dude.
I have to tell you, dude, Baker's got that dog in him, and I don't think it's just that easy to sling Baker Mayfield around like a baby doll.
When you're Nick Bosa size, it should be.
Yeah, like you have hold of his arm like that, you could just go like that, you know? Like, I don't know.
How many people have you done that to, Kai?
I'm just saying in theory, if I was Nick Bosa's size, I imagine it'd be pretty easy to do that to someone, right? I mean, come on.
I stiff-armed one of our friends one time and broke his foot, but Tyler.
We don't. It's too soon. Too soon.
Wow, Brian, you're a monster.
The three-headed monster for the Buccaneers is now a 2. Right? Bucky Irving, 13 for 73 and a touchdown. Rachaad White, 10 for 31. And then 6 catches, 39 yards and a touchdown.
And Sean Tucker didn't even have a touch. So,
yeah. K. Dotton, 5 for 35. Pretty pedestrian game except for those running backs. Are you confidently starting Bucky Irving going forward seeing this, or are you kind of still tentative on that?
He's a flex play for me. It's not somebody I'm starting every week, but if you have to, I would start him. I almost started him this week in a flex. I didn't end up doing it, and it bit me in the ass.
I think it's matchup dependent with Bucky Irving. I think Rachaad White you're starting all the time now.
Yeah, I made a mistake of not starting Rachaad White in our home league, and it cost me the win because he had substantially more points than the other person I was putting in my flex. So that's what happens. Fantasy football will do that to you.
Yeah.
The next game on the slate, the Saints 20 and the Falcons 17. I told you that the Saints would win this game.
That was a good call.
It was, yeah.
It was. I couldn't see it from a mile away. I could see it from about a quarter mile away. Derek Carr was solid in the victory, 16 of 25, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. MVS was a huge part of that, 3 for 109, 2 touchdowns. Kind of a surprising stat line considering who MVS is. It's pretty impressive.
I mean,
Kamara. Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of looks like he could be, the Rashid Shaheed of this offense now, at least temporarily. I mean, of course, he's not as good at Rashid Shaheed light. We're still gonna get that MVS drop. Like a huge wide open drop.
Another really good waiver pickup this week for me personally, just because they don't really have any receivers there. Mm-hmm. I've never been an MVS guy. I think he kind of sucks, but he could be usable in fantasy moving forward.
Yeah, I mean,
just putting it out there.
His play style meshes with Derek Carr too. I mean, Derek Carr likes to bomb it, so
he does. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The Saints are they're one of those teams that's playing for pride right now. They got nothing to lose. Ball out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, too. One of those touchdowns wasn't even on a deep throw, was it?
No.
It was one deep throw and one kind of medium throw that he just took to the house. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Hey, get it to your playmakers when it's all you got, right?
Yeah, man.
Alvin Kamara, 17 for 55, still on the pace for a bunch of touches. Mm-hmm. 5 catches, 54 yards, kind of like a floor day for Alvin Kamara, but still very viable in fantasy. He has been a huge surprise this year. The Falcons outgained the Saints on offense, but struggled to convert on key plays, third downs, red zone opportunities. Falcons didn't look super sharp. But that comes with the territory with a division game like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, you got anything to say, Brian?
No, keep going.
Kirk Cousins, 23 of 38, 306 yards. Did not get into the end zone. Had a pick. Not super impressive. Bijan has a huge day, 20 for 116, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 28 yards. He's looking like he's taken like a pretty firm grip of that backfield, and it's about time that the Falcons actually get on that.
Well, they were trying to take a touchdown from Bijan.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. Algier almost had a touchdown. They actually gave him 3 chances, right? And Bijan got in on the 4th down.
Yeah.
It was like Algier got stuffed 3 straight times, and then Bijan got in so fucking easy on 4th down.
No, I remember that exact moment because Smitty was going crazy in the group chat. He was like, dude, they're trying to take the ball away from Bijan, and then Bijan finally got it. I was like, Jesus.
Trying to personally sabotage Smitty.
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I heard. I heard that is actually a conspiracy. Speaking of Tyler Algier, 11 for 59. Also couldn't punch it in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. You're a big bruising back. You're supposed to be the goal line guy. Not really doing it for me.
Lost his chance.
Lost his chance, dude. Lost his chance. Drake.
Can we just stop giving him the ball? just keep giving Bijan like 26 touches a game, dude.
I agree. It's like it's all
give Bijan as many touches as Mixon gets every single game. Bijan would be a beast.
I mean, look, he got 20 carries in this game and 2 touchdowns on over 100 yards. That for me is a recipe for success. If Kirk Cousins even gets a semblance of a passing game put together in the red zone, or at all, like any kind of rhythm, the Falcons might win this game. They should have won this game. Drake London 8 for 97 and Darnell Mooney 5 for 96. Pretty good stat lines.
Yeah.
You know, would have been nice if one of them had a touchdown.
Yeah. Mooney's been a huge surprise this year. I mean, us being all big Mooney fans, we kind of knew that he was going to be good for this offense, but I don't think a lot of other people did.
No, and you know what? He definitely is a good playmaker, and I'm proud of him, dude.
Yeah.
He's in a good spot.
Wide receiver 8 in PPR this year.
Really? Wait, wide receiver 8, huh? Wow.
Wide receiver 8. And
That's
Drake
surprising.
London is wide receiver 4.
Wow.
Dang, Kirk Cousins is carrying, like, he's supporting 2 top 10 fantasy wide receivers this year.
He's slinging that thing.
He is slinging that thing, dude. Keep letting him sling it. All in all, we still don't know much about the Falcons.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
we really don't know much about. We don't know who they are, what their identity is.
I know that they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
But do you think that they're like? Do you think that this team is actually, although they have a lead in the division, are they actually safe to win this division? Do you think the Buccaneers could come back and do this?
Tampa could still make a comeback, but I mean, they're so injured and they've had such a rough schedule the last month. I don't know. They obviously have to play better in order to make a run here. The Falcons have a 2-game lead right now. Tampa's going to linger, but I would assume Atlanta will win this division. I don't think they're actual contenders, though. I would expect them to probably lose their first playoff game.
We will find out who the Falcons are the next 3 weeks. 3 out of the next 4 weeks. They play the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Vikings. We will know who they are by the time Christmas rolls around.
Good point.
Okay.
Yep. Going on to the next game.
One more thing before we move on. I don't know if you guys saw this. So obviously, it was his name Darren Rizzi, I think is his name, right? The interim coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he said before the game, he when he got to the stadium, he took a poop and he clogged the toilet, and he's like, "Oh, this is going to be a bad day." I thought that was very funny. I think the words he used were, "This is going to be a crappy day," and then he beat the Falcons.
Or a shitty day.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man. Just some things you shouldn't say. And I love poop humor.
I thought it was funny.
Don't admit clogging the toilet, dude.
I've heard him say one sentence, and he's already so much more likable than Dennis Allen has ever been in his entire life.
Well, that's like 96% of people, dude.
Yeah, true.
The next game, heartbreaker. Yeah. Just a heartbreaker for all NFL fans. We kind of all wanted to see it happen. Chiefs 16, Broncos 14. Chiefs still are playing to the competition or the level of their competition. They're not really winning games convincingly. Their defense still looks good. But that can even be kind of argued that Bo Nix kind of took them behind the shed and gave them a chance to win. Patrick Mahomes, 28 of 42, 266 yards and a touchdown. He's not lighting it up anymore, Patrick Mahomes.
Hasn't for a while.
He has looked better, though, the last few weeks, so.
He's just looking sort of pedestrian. The Broncos put a lot of pressure on him, forced a lot of incompletions, gave their defense a lot of opportunities to get the Chiefs off of the field. And the Broncos played this game perfectly on offense and defense.
I have an idea floating around in my head about Patrick Mahomes fantasy wise. I think dynasty specifically, if you need a quarterback and the fantasy owner of Patrick Mahomes in your league might be panicking a little bit about him, this is probably the cheapest you'll ever be able to get Patrick Mahomes in a dynasty league. So
keep that in mind.
If you need a quarterback, just send a bullshit offer over and see if they accept it.
Yep, just send it, and then if they accept it, act like you didn't know they were going to accept it.
How many points did he have this week? 16. So he actually finally eclipsed 20 last week against Tampa, but that was the first time in almost a year. So yeah, I don't think Patrick Mahomes will ever be this cheap again in dynasty format. So.
Yeah, except like when you drafted him, if you got him in your startup or the rookie draft, that's probably the cheapest he ever was. And now look, Kareem Hunt ineffective on the ground completely, 14 for 35, but had 6 or 7 catches for 65 yards. He was their leading receiver by a yard. I don't know if that's actually like good for the success of the Chiefs but at least he's there to catch passes.
Good for Kareem Hunt. If you're a Kareem Hunt owner, that's really good. It shows that even if he's bad on the ground, which that's kind of been his like go-to for points this year, he can still make it up in the passing game if need be. So
Travis Kelce kind of stays on his little hot streak, 8 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. He looks more involved in the offense. I guess that's a good stat line. That used to be like the most mid-game Travis Kelce could have. This was like one of those. I mean, this used to be like a game where you're like, he could have gotten more. But now it's just like, thank you.
Kelsey only got me 20 points.
I'm serious, dude. There was a day where like 20 would be like in the middle of his range of outcomes. Now it's at the top. So that being said, he's still staying hot on the season. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 56. Is Xavier Worthy droppable in fantasy football this year, right now? Would you drop him for another player?
In redraft, yeah.
One for
Which
11.
is crazy because remember week 1? Like we thought, like, oh my God, the Bills let the Chiefs get this guy. Oh my God, you damn idiots! And I don't even think it's on Xavier Worthy. I just don't think the Chiefs are really using him.
Yeah, maybe he's Sammy Watkins.
I don't know. Different players.
Just like a big splash week 1.
Kai. Yeah, okay, that's true. I didn't get that. Kai, you're an Xavier Worthy owner in Dynasty. You picked him in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, are you panicking about him a little bit?
No, just because it's year 1 in an Andy Reid offense. And, Andy Reid, sometimes he ramps up these rookies pretty slow. So, I don't know. It's just the Chiefs. They're just such a bad offense now, too. So, it's just, I don't know. We all thought that Xavier Worthy would pop off because, he was in the Chiefs offense and we saw something week 1 and then it hasn't been anything since then. So
I see a lot of people talking about like, oh, the Chiefs are doing witchcraft. That's why it's like, I mean, they blocked the Broncos field goal. Is that like the craziest thing that's ever happened?
No.
The Broncos are a solid team, but they're not like, like that. This was a winnable game for the Chiefs, is what I'm saying. Like, this isn't like the most shocking thing that's ever. I felt like Twitter lit on fire when that happened. Like, they keep getting away with this.
I mean, it still was shocking though, because in my head though, as I was like, of course the Chiefs would win in this fashion. It's just like, of course it would be this team. I'm sure that's just how everyone was feeling about it.
I mean, they're back-to-back champs, dude.
I know.
Yeah, they got the.
And I hate it. I just hate it. I hated that they won this game too. Dylan's right. It was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, for all NFL fans. And you know what? If you say that the Chiefs are doing witchcraft to win this game because they blocked a field goal at the end of the game, you just let me know you're not a football fan. If you think that that's the craziest thing that could have happened, that they're selling their souls to win a game like that, because you obviously haven't watched enough football. That's not even the craziest way a game could end.
Here's a spin zone. What if it was a good thing that they won this game in the long term, because now they kind of feel like a little bit of invincibility about them? And then what if they keep this going till like week 14, week 15, week 16 before they finally lose? And then when their first loss happens right before the playoffs start, they start to spiral a little bit, get inside their heads a little bit, and lose in the wild card round or the divisional round if they get a bye.
I like
Some would say actually going into the Super Bowl with a undefeated record is more pressure.
Tom Brady would probably say that. Yeah. Especially
if they face a team with a really good pass rush, and then all of a sudden it feels like that Buccaneers Super Bowl again.
I mean, they're not going to go undefeated, right? Schedule game. Let me look at the schedule real quick. We're not going to actually do it. Let me just look at the schedule real quick, and let me just see if they have. I mean, they play the Bills this week, so that's a great one. Obviously, they play the Chargers still. They play the Texans still. They play the Steelers still, and they play the Broncos again in the last week of the year. So there's still some games coming up.
They're not going undefeated. I could probably think of like a few games on that schedule already that they lose.
Hey, dude, the Browns are no slouch either.
Mm-hmm. Browns.
I know, but it depends on what version shows up.
I know the Raiders beat them last year in the weirdest game I've ever seen, but they're not going to beat them this year. I think that's pretty safe to say they'll beat the Chiefs, or they'll beat the Raiders and the Panthers, but the rest of them are up in the air, I would say.
Fair enough. Bo Nix, is he creeping into your rookie of the year conversation? 22 of 30, 215, and 2 touchdowns.
He is for me. I don't think anyone's going to overtake Jaden Daniels unless he gets injured. But I think Bo Nix is I would say top 2 right now, honestly, just because Malik Neighbors has fallen off. Maybe 3, because Brian Thomas is probably up there as well. Brian Thomas has probably been the best rookie wide receiver, honestly, start to finish so far, or start to where we are now. But Bo Nix is probably top 2 or 3 for me, rookie of the year.
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about just the rookie quarterbacks, I think Bo Nix for me has leapfrogged Caleb Williams now.
For sure.
Dude. Oh, for sure, dude. For sure. In my opinion, I'm super glad he's having a lot of success because I was a big, I was speaking out. Bo Nix is good. He's got a lot of experience. And he's getting up to the pace of the NFL game. He has a good coach, good defense. He's not looking terrible. So there is promise there. But no, I don't think he'll catch Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is truly a generational talent. Coming in as rookie, he's the best looking rookie quarterback I have almost ever seen with my eyes, besides maybe Andrew Luck. That's about it. Audric Estime, 14 carries, 53 yards. Huge waiver wire pickup this week. Kind of a surprise that he took over Javonte Williams' role so quickly without really any kind of notice. It kind of just hit us.
Well, Sean Payton has been talking about how he wants to get him more involved. And now, even after this game, he said that he wants to keep giving him more carries too. So I honestly think he's going to have more than 14 next week. So I think, personally, Audric Estime is the pickup of the week for me.
Good to know. Cortland Sutton, 3 straight great weeks, 6 for 70 and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton has 30 targets over the last 3 games. He has 21 receptions, almost 300 yards.
Didn't you say specifically, you think Cortland Sutton's going to have a good game this week? No. Didn't you say that this week?
I did. I thought that the Chiefs could actually cover him. I mean, but hey, look, sometimes your boy's wrong. Most of the time your boy's wrong. I'm a wise fool. That's what they call me on the X over there. But it is looking good. He's getting heavily targeted.
On the X.
I just wanted to show my age. Yeah, dude, how are you feeling about Cortland Sutton? Is he a must start in fantasy football going forward?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it's matchup based mostly, but right now you're not sitting him. I would ride this hot streak for sure. But the rest of season, I don't know if he's must start rest of season every single week. Right now he is for sure though.
Would have to agree with that. The numbers definitely support that. Devon Vele scored the other touchdown, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. Looking pretty good, reliable target for Bo Nix.
I like him.
Next game, Bills 30, Colts 20. Josh Allen, kind of a vintage game. A bunch of picks. but picked it up on the ground there. 22 for 37, 280 yards, 2 picks, 50 rushing yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
not really
vintage.
Necessarily. Yeah, pretty vintage. Not really necessarily the best game. James Cook, 19 for 80 and a touchdown. All right. Matt Collins, 4 for 86. Khalil Shakir, 6 for 58. The top 2 receivers for Buffalo. How did you guys feel about the beatdown that the Bills kind of put on the Colts for most of the game?
Pretty expected. I mean, I wanted to talk about Matt Collins. I mean, how do you guys view him going forward now?
I don't know if I trust anyone on the Bills offense other than like James Cook. I mean, obviously Allen, James Cook, and then Shakir. I don't think like Matt Collins is going to be like usable every single week, but we've talked about this for a while, Kai. At least you and I have. I'm a big Matt Collins guy.
Me too. Yeah.
I love his talent. I thought he was really good when he was on the Raiders. Who was he on after that? The Falcons, right? Didn't he stop out of the Falcons? I thought he was good for the Falcons too. I mean, he doesn't play a lot for any of the teams that he's ever on, but when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. So like, if I were running the Bills, I would have him out there and use him more often, but I don't know if I trust the Bills to do that. They kind of have a weird offense. Not a bad offense, but a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago whenever the Bears had a joint practice in the preseason and training camp with, I can't remember who, I think it might have been the Dolphins, whenever he was playing for the Dolphins. And nobody on the Bears defense could cover just Matt Collins. He was tearing us up. So I kind of agree with you there. Doesn't get a lot of opportunity, but he's a good player.
What did he say? If you're weak if you use the utensils to eat or something like that? Doesn't he only use his hands to eat?
Oh yeah,
and he walks around
like that, right?
He walks around with no shoes on.
Does he?
Yeah, it was in the Hard Knocks for the Giants. He was on the Giants in the preseason, right?
I don't remember.
He was on the off-season Hard Knocks, I believe, with the Giants. Anyways, Joe Flacco looked pretty bad in the first half. His first pass was a pick.
Pick six.
Yeah, pick six, 26 of 35, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Didn't look any better than he looked last week against the Vikings. Jonathan Taylor, though, bounce back game, 21 for 114. Pretty solid on the ground. All the Colts receivers did pretty well. Alec Pierce, 4 for 81 and a touchdown. Josh Downs, 7 for 72. Adonai Mitchell, 6 for 71. This is so
Mitchell,
bad.
By the way, Mitchell, another decent waiver pickup. Another decent one.
You think in that crowded room, there's room for him every game?
Well, Michael Pittman's been playing injured for a while. He missed this game. I expect him to probably miss at least 1 or 2 more. Even when Anthony Richardson was in there, Mitchell showed flashes where it was like they just couldn't connect on some big plays every once in a while. But like AD Mitchell gets open every once in a while, like not even more than one every once in a while. He gets open like a lot. He's very athletic. I think it's not somebody I'm like dropping somebody important for, but like if you have an open spot, Mitchell's a decent pickup, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fair to say.
I think Flacco is going to be better moving forward, personally. Those were 2 really tough defenses to throw him in for his first 2 games.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's still moving the ball, too. I mean, that's the whole point here. So,
over the past 4 games, Dalton Kincaid and Will Dissly have scored the same amount of fantasy football points, 26.
Wow.
Yes.
How does that make you feel about Dalton Kincaid?
It makes me feel wrong, and I hate being wrong.
Makes me feel right. I love being right. I did not like Dalton Kincaid this year at all. I wasn't drafting him at all. I got ridiculed at our draft by a Bills fan because I picked I said that Trey McBride was a better player. He's like, "You think Trey McBride's better than Dalton Kincaid?" Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. And I feel pretty vindicated about that take. I think Trey McBride's been a very good player this year. Dalton Kincaid can't really get it going. I don't know if it's necessarily on Dalton Kincaid because by the way, he had a wide open touchdown that Josh Allen overthrew. So there's a chance that Dalton Kincaid would have looked a lot better in this game if that would have gone down. So.
How do you feel about Will Dissly, though? Just kidding. That's not a good look, man. You're supposed to be one of the better playmakers on offense, and you're just being phased out by literally everyone else on the offense. Oh boy.
Weird offense, like I said. It's a good offense, but it's weird. By the way, thanks to Josh Norris on Twitter for that stat line.
Josh Norris. I thought he was just a name written here. I didn't know what that was.
I was crediting him.
All right, it's
2-1 Kai. It's 2-1 Kai.
Just kidding. Patriots 19, Bears 3. Oh no! I thought we were gonna skip this one.
No, we can't.
We're not gonna skip this one. Okay, compose yourself. I'm usually sad in this moment. Drake May, 15 for 25, 184 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Looked better than any Bears quarterbacks ever looked. Just kidding. Ramondre Stevenson, 20 carries, 74 yards. Sort of pedestrian on the ground. Still got his work though. Woo! The Patriots defense, 9 sacks.
Oh my God!
How long have you had that queued up?
I've been having my finger on it for like 30 seconds.
I think
let him cook.
I didn't mean to hit that one. Sorry.
4 of those sacks were in the fourth quarter as I was tying my noose.
Oh my God!
Caleb Williams, I'm not going to read this. It says Caleb Williams has looked like he somehow has regressed since earlier in the year. No shit.
I mean, has he not? Like, he looked good in like weeks 3 through 5 or whatever that was. Like, I don't know.
I just got to say, dude, 9 sacks. I mean, I understand the play calling was bad. They weren't really adjusting to the defense, the pass rush, or anything like that. No quick hitting pass plays. They were still expecting the long developing plays to go far. And even when they did try to do quick hitting pass plays, it's so predictable that the offensive coordinator got canned. Yay.
I want to ask a trivia question here to Kai specifically, because I have a feeling that Dylan might know the answer. Kai, when was the last time Caleb Williams scored more than 10 fantasy points?
I want to say the London game.
Who did they play in London?
That was the Jags.
Oh, nice. Right on. It was week 6 against the Jaguars. He had 29 points against the Jaguars.
I was trying to think of the only good game I could think of from Caleb Williams. I was like, London. Yeah.
Week 7, he had a bye week. Week 8, he had 9.9 points. Week 9, he had 9 points. Week 10, he had 6 points.
Yeah. Not good.
Also hasn't had a touchdown since that London game.
Oh, you hit me in my chest. All the Bears receivers were ineffective. No shit. Keenan Allen, 5 for 44. DJ Moore, 3 for 24. Rome Odunze, 3 for 23. Cole Kmet, 2 for 13. I believe that there are receivers that played this week that had a better stat line than those four players combined. Sad day. Yeah, dude, all things considered, yes, Caleb Williams has regressed. Is it his fault? I don't believe so. But the Bears' offense looks bad. Their defense doesn't look as feisty, like they're getting those takeaways and those nice. I mean, 19 points isn't a lot to surrender these days, but there's not a lot you can do when you're on the field constantly.
That's what I was going to say. Don't you think like the Bears' defense is probably just tired at this point? Like they played so hard up until this point, and yeah,
they're exhausted, bro. Yeah. They really are exhausted. It's not like they played terrible in this game. If maybe the Bears can hold on to the ball, this game's a whole different game. But that offense is a liability in general. Like we said, we'll see what Thomas Brown does. But Shane Waldron being fired would be the 14th. No, 8th. It would be the 8th staff member of Matt Eberflus's career that has resigned or been fired.
Did you just go over all the names in your head? Because 14-8 was a wild discrepancy right there.
Well, I think it was 8 firings or resignings in the last 14 months.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
He's no longer hot Eberflus.
He is not Eberflus.
He's Fireflus.
He is He's barring some sort of miraculous win streak where we make the playoffs and win a playoff game. I believe he's canned after this year, And I don't think that'll happen. The offensive line is too bad.
That ain't happening, brother. No.
Matt Eberflus is most likely canned. It would be smart to do it now, but the Bears aren't going to do it now because I just said the word smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, we got to separate ourselves from that and got to believe we're not anymore. We're not. This isn't 1984 anymore. We're not smart.
At least they don't have a blinding sunbeam coming into their eyes whenever they're on the field.
Yeah, they're just the only NFL team at all that doesn't own their own stadium. But
can you imagine how bad the Bears would be if they played in AT&T Stadium?
yeah,
Even worse.
They're as bad as it. Can it get worse?
I think it could. I think it could, Dylan.
You son of a bitch. All right, dude. And you know what? I could cry all day. I'm holding back tears right now in my eyes. I don't know if you can see them, but I'm going crazy over here. We're going to move on to the next game. Surprisingly, one of the better games played this weekend, in my opinion. Panthers 20, Giants 17. And before I talk about any of the stats, did you not see that cute, beautiful smile on Bryce Young? So happy about winning that game. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, he's happy.
We won it, dude. It was the best. It brightened up. I'm so glad I woke up for that game. It brightened my day.
Yeah.
To see that man smile like that.
Well, I was going to say, I think it might be the first time in his career that he's won 2 games in a row.
No, it is.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the first time he's ever smiled in his career.
I believe they were.
I mean, for that too, maybe.
I believe this is only his 4th game he's ever won as a pro.
I think this is only his 2nd. They only won 1 game last year, didn't they? I think they only.
So this is only his 2nd win as a pro?
No, 3rd.
Wait, no. Third, because Andy Dalton only won 1. Andy Dalton only won 1. Yeah, they won last week. Yeah.
It's his 3rd game he's ever won. Good for him, dude. Good for Bryce Young. He's no longer the worst quarterback in the NFL. That goes to
Caleb Williams, Gardner Minshew, Desmond Ritter.
It's definitely still Trevor Lawrence. Bryce Young, solid again for the 2nd week in a row. Like we said, 15 to 25, 126 yards and a touchdown. That's Bryce Young solid. That is not NFL standard solid. Okay, Chuba Hubbard, absolute stud. 28 carries, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. Made the Giants defense his absolute bitch the entire game. There was nobody on that Giants defense that could stop him.
The Chuba missile crisis.
You had to say it, dude. I love it, dude. You hate it? You hate it?
No, I hate it. I hate that it's so funny. Yeah.
That's a good one, dude.
Chuba missile crisis, dude. Jatavian Sanders caught the lone receiving touchdown. Nobody else stood out by any means on that team. Not even Jalen Coker. Nobody else caught any passes other than that. Really, that made sense. No, not really. They didn't have to pass the ball really well.
What does Xavier Legette do? I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch a single minute of this game. I was asleep.
Legette was
pulling up right now.
He was 3 for 40. Legette.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jalen Coker 3 for 41. David Moore 2 for 18. Chuba Hubbard got 4 catches, 16 yards. Just some pedestrian numbers like that. I thought that they looked good. I thought that the Panthers looked probably the better. This was probably the best game they've played under Bryce Young. So it looked pretty nice. Daniel Jones. What can we say that hasn't been said? 22 of 37, 190 yards, 2 picks, had a lone rushing touchdown. He's still not moving the needle for the Giants. I heard Schefter tweeted out today that he'd be shocked if he plays another down for the Giants, which I think is pretty bold considering they paid him, and why not ride him out for the rest of the year?
So this is what I saw here. So this is from Schefter from yesterday. He said if Daniel Jones were to get injured and couldn't pass a physical in March, he'd be owed $23 million fully guaranteed next year. So it sounds like, and Brian Daboll was hesitant on committing to Daniel Jones next week as the starting quarterback. It might be like a Derek Carr situation. If you remember a couple years ago when Josh McDaniels benched him the last few games of the season to avoid him potentially getting hurt, and then the Raiders would have had to pay him his full salary the next season because they were thinking about moving on from him. I assume that this is probably going to be a similar thing, or at the very least, finish out the season and then bring him back next year and maybe draft a quarterback and have Daniel Jones be a very expensive backup. But yeah, I personally expect Drew Lock to start next week. I don't know.
It wouldn't hurt.
Giants are 3-13 in Daniel Jones' last 16 starts.
That's bad.
That's gross. Tyrone Tracy had a great game. 18 for 103 and a touchdown. Had the fumble in overtime that cost them the game, though. He was distraught on the sidelines. Felt terrible for the guy, but you got to hold on that ball. You should have known the whole Tiki Barber thing that used to happen. You're a Giants running back. High and tight, baby. High and tight. Keep your head up, Tyrone. 4 different players for the Giants had 4+ catches. What does that mean? We have Wan'Dale Robinson, 5 for 51. Malik Neighbors, 6 for 50. Jalen Hyatt, 4 for 39. Theo Johnson, 4 for 37. Everyone else didn't really make any difference. No touchdowns. Malik Neighbors did have a little scare in this game where he came down kind of hard on his head, got pulled out of the game, was evaluated for concussion. We hope that that's not a trend in his career. He had one earlier this year. Protect your head, dude. Protect your head. They got to get those hospital balls that get you caught. It was a really high pass. He fell all the way to the ground on his head. And we hate it.
He came back in the game, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's not a good look. You can't take that many blows to the head. He looked visibly hurt and like he was not okay. He pointed to his helmet, made it very clear. Keep Neighbors safe, dude. He's your future of that offense.
Oh, absolutely.
But right now, that's the end of the Sunday slate and Monday game. So what we're going to move on to now is the Week 11 Thursday Night Football preview. We have the 7-3 Commanders at the 7-2 Eagles. Looks to be a absolute amazing Thursday Night Football game. We've been getting really lucky with these games this year. Devontae Smith is questionable. Nakobe Dean is questionable. Dallas Goedert is questionable. Brian Robinson Jr., after missing last week's game, is questionable again. Marshawn
practice
Lattimore
today, though. I will say Brian Robinson practiced today. Yeah.
So it's looking good for Brian Robinson. Marshawn Lattimore, brand new to the Commanders, still questionable. Don't really know what that's about. But
I think he had an injury coming over from the Saints.
It's really risky to trade for a guy with an injury. But that being said, how do you guys feel?
You go first. I haven't decided who I think is going to win yet.
Man, I mean, I'm going to pick the Eagles, of course, but yeah, this is a very tough game. I mean, it's been a long time since I've had to worry about a Commanders matchup. You know, it's like, this is usually, when I look at it, I'm just like, oh, it's the Washington game. We should stomp them like we usually do, but it's a little different this time around. I mean, this is kind of a fun matchup though, too. I mean, Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts, two young superstar quarterbacks in the league. I'm excited about this matchup, but it's going to be a nice test for the Vic Fangio defense against this Washington offense that has a lot of weapons, a very mobile quarterback, a good run game. Austin Eckler looks like his old self now. It's just, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to ride with my Eagles high on this one.
I think I'll pick the Eagles too. I think it's going to be close. I don't think the Eagles will sweep them. I think it'll probably be a split. The Commanders will win in Washington later on. I think it's going to be a very close game though. Like I don't think the Commanders are going to like roll over and die and from the Eagles crowd or anything like that. I think AJ Brown is going to have an amazing game, especially if Marshawn Lattimore doesn't play, which I don't think he's going to. I
mean, even Saquon, man, I think
Saquon's going to have a good game too.
I think Saquon's usually pretty good against Washington in his career, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, I'll say the Eagles by 3.
For the sake of both you guys picking the Eagles, I really, really wanted to pick the Commanders, but I don't think it's in the cards for them to win this game. They looked good enough against Pittsburgh, but that second half Pittsburgh defense held the Commanders down in the fourth quarter. And that game was won in the fourth quarter, and that Steelers team showed that the Commanders are not bulletproof, and they do have trouble scoring when it really, really matters, unless it's a Hail Mary versus Chicago.
We didn't even talk about that game.
Commanders
Steelers.
Hey, you forgot that. You forgot that game.
No, Kai forgot that. 3-1 Kai. 3-1 Kai. That was a good game too, dude.
How did I
Well, we
miss
can
that
talk
one?
about it right now. We can talk about it right now. Let me pull up the stats on this one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I did miss it.
It's okay, dude. It's okay.
It's not okay, Kai. This is unacceptable.
Hey man, it's like you're looking at the notes after a while and all the letters start meshing together. It's like
All right, so we're just gonna talk about it now. In that game, Russell Wilson went 14 for 28, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Jalen Warren led the team in rushing, 14 carries, 66 yards. Najee Harris had 21 carries for 53 and a touchdown. Not bad. George Pickens had that incredible touchdown in the back of the end zone. Also, suplexed the guy.
Dude, that was hilarious. Yeah.
Mike Williams had his kind of like a swan song game. 1 catch, 32 yards, 1 touchdown on the same play that Aaron Rodgers criticized him on early in the season for not being where he's supposed to be. Really showed you up, dude. Maybe you're washed, Aaron. Pat Freiermuth had 3 catches, 17 yards, and a touchdown on 3 targets. Really just being efficient out there. On offense, Russell Wilson, 50% completion percentage, but held it in at the end. Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I will say, so Russ is now 3-0 as the starting quarterback for the Steelers. George Pickens on that play where he suplexed that guy. It also at the end of the play kind of looks like he's like kind of like shoving his face into his chest, like he's eating him as if he's like a zombie. Yeah. George Pickens is the funniest player in the NFL. I don't know if I mean that as a compliment or not. He is a wild dude.
He definitely is, dude. And we should have known that from that draft day picture where he's like standing all bellied out with a face mask on, like a ski mask on, watching himself get drafted.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that picture.
I'll have to send it to you in the group chat later.
I'll try to look it up right now while you're talking.
We have Jaden Daniels on the Washington side, 17 of 34. So both passers in this game are 50% passers. Jaden Daniels, 202 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, at least through the air, right? Austin Eckler with Brian Robinson Jr. being out, 13 carries, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty useful on the goal line. Jeremy McNichols, 4 carries, 7 yards, 1 touchdown. Terry McLaurin keeps it going, 5 catches, 113 yards. Looks just as good as ever. Probably one of the better toe tappers in the league, getting his feet down in bounds. Noah Brown, 3 for 33. Zach Ertz, 4 for 31. The really good play on a third down on a scramble for Jaden Daniels. He really pulled that ball down. It's what you expect from a veteran tight end. Luke McCaffrey, 1 for 23. Other than that, Olamide Zaccheaus fumbled twice, lost 1. So
on the punt, the muff,
I do want to say Jaden Daniels had 2 touchdowns that were missed. One was a play to Luke McCaffrey. I can't remember whose fault it was. I can't remember if it was like an overthrow or McCaffrey couldn't come down with it. But like McCaffrey had open field in front of him. It probably would have been like a 75-yard touchdown. And another one was like in the red zone, threw it into the end zone. De'Ami Brown just straight up dropped it in the end zone. So Jaden Daniels should have had more fantasy points than he did. Probably should have had a lot more. And then the last play of the game was just a complete mental error from Johnny Newton, who's a rookie. Rookie mistakes happen, but it's 4th and 1. The Steelers are going out there to try to convert a first down to seal the game. Obviously, Commanders want to stop them, but at this point, you've watched football a million times. You kind of know the trends of Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson too. You kind of had a feeling it was going to be a play where the Steelers weren't actually going to run the play and they were just going to try to do a couple hard counts, see if they could get the Commanders to jump. It worked like a charm. The Commanders jumped immediately and the Steelers won the game. I don't think the Steelers were actually planning on running that play. So the Commanders actually had a chance to win this game at the end. The Steelers probably would have punted that away if that wouldn't have happened. So.
No, for real. And you know what? Not a lot of teams can score on the Steelers in the second half this year. I believe they've allowed the fewest points in the second half of any team in the NFL up to this point. And the Commanders actually did drop 10 on them in the third quarter. So good on them. That's a really hard thing to do. But that fourth quarter is really going to matter against a team like this. And I think that'll be the difference between the Commanders and the Eagles this week. I'm going to go with the Eagles to win. Probably like a 28-24 game on the Eagles side.
Yeah, I just think like, what the Commanders have done, like even against the good teams that they've played against, they've looked good, they looked competitive, but I just think when it comes to a team like the Eagles though too, what the Commanders are doing right now is great. I just don't think they're there yet. I think like by next year or the year after that, the Commanders could be like dominant in this division.
Definitely. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign out now. I'm DP, aka Dylan Peters. With me is Brian Dixon and Kai Zabo. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere you can really find anyone else on social media. You'll find us there, and it's
On
at
the
Raging.
X.
On the X, it's at Raging Takes. I'm at Such a Wise Fool. Brian is at Montana Sauce, and Kai is at RTP Kai. Give us a follow there. The fan interaction is very important to us. We're looking forward to it. We've been loving it lately with anybody that likes to make comments. So give us a call. I'll even write back to you personally pretty quick too. I have no life. So just remember, we're there, dude. We're there. But for this week, we're going to sign off. We'll see you on Saturday for the Week 11 preview.
See ya.